Hello all. It has come to my attention that the war between creationists and those who seek to find truth in our world really works is still raging. Yeah, I guess by calling it a war I am being cynical, but what can you say? The new battleground is not just on YouTube anymore, but now spilling into the court system. The tactic is, filing copyright infringement claims by the filing of DMCAs. This dishonest, delinquent, and illegal tactic can no longer be ignored or tolerated. By silencing the opposition, the creationists can be free to disseminate their propaganda and ignorance, not only in our schools' science classes, but now over the greatest tool mankind has to offer in the pursuit of knowledge and education, the internet. These tactics can no longer be tolerated, for such tactics darken the free exchange of ideas our founding fathers gave us by design of the First Amendment. The uninfringible right to engage in free thought, sharing of knowledge, and the absolute right to speak our minds is paramount to our nation's core values and our way of life. What censorship does is it allows for only one side of a story or even a particular agenda to be told, when, there's most definitely another side, or even in some cases more than one side. Censorship allowed the Third Reich to rise to power and ultimately commit the atrocities the Nazis are so famous for. Censorship is also the reason why the Roman Catholic Church was able to grasp the governments of Europe in its claws of tyranny for over 500 years. An example of this censorship is obviously when Galileo Galilei was convicted of heresy for speaking a mere notion that the earth revolved around the sun. This idea was in conflict with the church doctrine at the time. However, I must note that the Roman Catholic Church has recently lifted the label of heretic from Galileo and is now calling him a hero. But unfortunately, the damage has been done. Censorship delayed the pursuit of science in favor of an agenda, Catholic dogma. Another instance of censorship starts with the Council of Nicaea in 351 AD, when Roman Emperor Constantine assembled this council to decide what should be accepted works of the church. Because of political agendas by the anti-Gnostic Christians, only 4 Gospels were allowed: the Gospels of Mark, Luke, Matthew, and John. The rest were just tossed out and thus became the Gospels of the Apocrypha, the Gnostic Gospels, which, interestingly enough, include the Gospels of Thomas, Judas, and Mary. Censorship is a danger to every society, and Americans have been fighting against censorship for years. The unfortunate part is that censorship has won to a certain degree for far too long. And creationists like CSE and VenomFakeX aren't the only ones who use this tactic of unintellectual warfare. The Church of Scientology has also used this tactic against YouTubers such as Xenu TV and Toy Magoo 44, and in order to silence opposition to their cause, and even they have seen the power of the spirit of freedom of speech in America. And Anonymous are the ones showing them that spirit with the message that censorship will not be tolerated. Man, I'm finding it hard to talk tonight. I must digress, though, however, because the new weapon of censorship is found within the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which was passed on October 12, 1998 by Congress and signed into law by President Bill Clinton to protect copyright material from being disseminated without the permission of the owners. However, fair use is outlined under U.S. law as follows, and I did cite this from Wikipedia. Quote, notwithstanding the provisions of Section 17 U.S.C. Chapter 106 and 17 U.S.C. Chapter 106A, the fair use of a copyrighted work included such use by reproduction in copies or phonorecords, or by any other means specified by that section, for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright. I must repeat that, not an infringement of copyright. To determine whether the use made for a work in any particular case is a fair use, with factors to be considered shall include 1. The purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is a commercial nature or for a non-profit educational purposes. The nature of the copyrighted work. That's number 2. Number 3, the amount of substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. And number 4, the effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. The fact that the work is unpublished shall not itself bar a finding of fair use if such finding is made upon consideration of all the above factors. End quote. Well, in conclusion, my mother always told me that it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. This game, however, is a game in which we cannot afford to lose, because if we do, then we just can expect a full degradation of all of our rights. And if that happens, then all we have to look forward to is just another age of social and scientific darkness. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Move it on a little bit. Where did men come from?
Men evolved out of lower species in the way that all the species evolved out of lower species.
This is ridiculous. This is ludicrous. If he wants to believe this happened, he's welcome to believe his grandpa was Lucy and came down from his tree or something. But that is pure religion. We offer $250,000 for anybody with any real empirical, testable, scientific evidence for evolution.
So you saying we ain't come down from monkeys?
No. Monkeys are still having babies. Why don't they have another human today?
Okay. Has you ever eaten a banana?
Oh, yeah. I eat all kinds of food. Yeah. I eat a banana. That's proof we came from rock. That's not proof of evolution.
The people who engage in this kind of nonsense always set up the rules that you could never win the money. Now,
but the banana thing got him, innit?
Yeah. Well,
he had to start going, oh, no, no, no. He started saying, because you started going red when I said that.
Think
like you thought, oh, shit, man has got it, my man over there.
Thing. No. The fact
then why did you start all... He went red, didn't it?
No, because I'm surprised at how illogical your question was, or your thinking was.
Yo, speak to that, because space ain't listening.